Hello, and welcome. My name is Rich. This is Champions Online. And after probably 2 months, a little bit more, I've realised I should probably be calling this a Let's Play. So, let's play Champions Online. At level 40. We don't have very much to do. Ooh, we've got To the Desert, speak with Tyrell Donaldson. Let's just do that. And then we can go to Vibora Bay. Proper Vibora Bay this time, not part of Vibora Bay. Let's hop on our jet bike and go and see. Mike? Was his name Mike? A bit more quickly. Tyrell, alright, yes. Tyrell Donaldson. Hello, friend. If you came to Snake Gulch expecting to find an amusement park, you're in for a nasty surprise. I created cowboy robots to educate and entertain. How did I know Viper would reprogram them to become crazed killers? Covering the robots. That's a repeatable mission, so we're not going to do it. Because I think we've already done it. Almost certainly. Spent a lot of time in Snake Gulch there. That's SNA KEE, isn't it? Unless... Is it... Did he call it Snakey Gulch? Because there's a U here missing. Gulch. Or was that a mistake on the part of whoever it was that built this sign? Well, I mean, that would probably be the Doyleist explanation, but the Watsonian explanation is that Tyrell Donaldson decided to call his amusement park Snakey Gulch. Ravenforce might be an old sign covered in new lettering. Maybe. Oh yeah, there's an S there. N-A-K-E. It's difficult to tell because the wood... Well, this is covered by a huge glowing E. Oh no, looks like a mistake. It's weird. Yeah. I mean, you can just about see the S and an edge of an A there, but you can't really see any of the rest of the letters, so... I mean, maybe I could find out if I turned the settings down on the display so that, like, bloom wasn't as visible. Try saying the unlit 01 command. I can't be bothered. I'm not that invested in investigating. Let's just go straight to Vibora Bay.
The apocalypse. Huh. Who'd have thought we'd live to see it happen? If Jury Rig's calculations are right, and maybe, if we're a little bit lucky, You'll be able to stop it before it even begins. Thrakiel's had millennia to set up the pieces, so be smart knocking things out of play. We're running the risk of making it all worse, but it's the only game we've got left. He's hiding under the High Apostolic Church for now, but he's recruited powerful and determined henchmen to set up his plans. They've been making deals you have to break. The gangs of Vibora aren't gonna make it easy. The new Shadows, Sovereign Sons, Dogs, Trey Kings, all want the power Thrakiel's promising. You've got allies too, though. Dr. Ka and Black Mask can fill you in the city. I'll be there to help where I can, but we may not remember any of this. It's gonna be up to you. Stuff like this starts small, so you'll have to be on the lookout for the little chinks in his armor, things he'll have overlooked. Look to your allies for direction. Time's against you on this one, but you've got to change the past, or we'll end up right back here, at the end of the world. You can do it, kid. You're a hero. Clock starts now. Good luck.
A little bit worried that I shouldn't have gotten that audio voice log and intro cinematic just yet, because he's talking about, he mentioned coming back in time, which you do after you've done a bunch of missions in Vibora Bay already. And also I just realised that actually the way that you start Vibora Bay properly is that you go from Millennium City. You do some missions involving Valerian Scarlet, which you need to pick up from Juryrig, who's over here. So, whoops, my bad there. Tourists of Doom. This is my first time in Millennium City, you know. I'm here working with Dr. Silverback, but it seems like I keep running into familiar faces from Vibora Bay, and some of them are bad guys. Last night I saw some Trey Kings hanging out near City Hall. Trey Kings are a street gang, and there are rumours that they're demon worshippers. And in a superhero universe like this, the rumours are probably true. They sure look creepy enough for it. If they're here, I bet they're up to no good. I don't know much about magic, but if you wanted to check it out, I met another hero from Vibora who might be able to help. Her name is Valerian Scarlet. I've never run into her before, but I think she's a mystic superheroine. She said she was going to hang out at Club Caprice. Maybe she can tell you more. We've actually met Valerian Scarlet before. Last time when we went to Vibora Bay, we went to her club. The Minefield, I want to say. Don't know why this is telling me the plot thickens, enter Club Caprice. Because typically when you have an alternate zone you can enter through the same door, it'll either have the name of the place or the name of the mission, and this isn't the name of the mission we've got. But oh well. This way, apparently. This place is pretty hazy, isn't it? Hey, Hawkman, how's it going? Prepare for the apocalypse. If it says plot thickens, you're doing Vibora Apoc. Perhaps I've made a mistake by going to Vibora Bay first, rather than talking to Valerian Scarlet. I forgot I was supposed to... Well, the correct way of doing it would be to talk to Valerian Scarlet first. She's in the outfit that we saw her in before. Not her, like, superhero outfit. Shouldn't affect anything. May get the same speech after a POC. Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope it resets. Joy Rig sent you? Oh, yeah. That guy with the blender on his back. Not exactly the sharpest tool in the junkyard, is he? I do know a thing or two about the Trey Kings, though. It don't matter which order you do it. The Apocalypse is a special map that's not the same as the social zone. Yeah, but I'm trying to approach things from the correct... in the correct order. And it seems I've made a mistake here. Although, to be fair, I've made other mistakes in the past. I've done stuff in the wrong order elsewhere, so... Yeah, Trey Kings. Val tells them what to do. Valerian Scarlet is the owner of the Minefield Club in Vibora Bay, as well as a powerful sorceress. She has travelled to Millennium City to secure mystical artifacts that could be used to cause the apocalypse. I don't... Is this... what this is supposed to be telling me right now? Surely, to maintain the illusion, it should tell me mystical artifacts that could be used to stop the apocalypse. Like, apparently this is information that's available to players, or player characters. How have I never noticed that? I don't know, Ravenforce. I mean, this is the first time I've actually looked at her info as well. So... is this supposed to be information that is available to characters? Val is actually claiming that she's trying to prevent the apocalypse by keeping dangerous relics out of the wrong hands. Hawkman. Yeah, that's why. That's the excuse that she gives when she sends you after Caliburn in a little bit. True, but the way it is written like this is like sus. Yep, definitely. This definitely suggests to me she's looking for artifacts that can cause the apocalypse so that she can cause the apocalypse. I mean, maybe that's just because I know that that's what she ultimately tries to do. Well, Hawkman, in theory, this is something to play after the Queen City arc. Yeah, I've done the Queen City arc. I've done basically everything except the adventure packs. And Vibora Bay. So we will have met Valerian Scarlet already, and I think that we checked her info at the time, but it didn't say this. Hawkman, the game teases the apocalypse is coming in Queen City. Maybe. If it does it very obliquely. Although, to be fair, it was a week or, well, probably more than a week since I did Queen City. So, I don't remember it perfectly, but I don't know that it hints that strongly at a coming apocalypse. I mean, I probably mentioned it at the time when I was there playing, because I benefit from future knowledge. But I suppose you could read this as her trying to collect the artifacts to safeguard them. But it is definitely very suspicious. If you don't already know, if you haven't already played and happen to read her info. just because you're looking at everyone's info. I'm Valerian Scarlet. I guess you haven't heard of me, but believe me when I tell you, the end is nigh. I come from Vibora Bay, and there are powers there that are trying to bring about the apocalypse. She's met us. Does she just meet loads and loads of superheroes, or is her memory rubbish, or like does she consider it beneath her to remember all the different people that she meets, even superheroes? My Hawkman, it hints that Vibora Bay has recently become more interesting in that the gangs have new sources of power that are outside Vibora, as people know it to be. A bit plot point was that the fights you engage in were with powers that they didn't have before. Val is affiliated with Ka and the Trismegistus Council. Well, at the moment. Okay, yeah, there was mention of during Queen City that the gangs had become a bit more powerful recently, but I don't know that that's enough to suggest that the apocalypse is nigh. Like, that just means that someone new has arrived and is stirring things up, I guess. Or it just means that something's changed. It doesn't necessarily mean apocalypse is nigh, unless you're extremely cynical. Queen City was added after VB was released with the first BM and Celestial Power set, so initially we never meet her. Ah, okay. So this hasn't been updated to reflect the fact that Queen City Val isn't affiliated with Car or Tris more Caliburn. Caliburn is affiliated with Car and Trismegistus or Trismegistus Council. I never got the impression that Valerian Scarlet was related to them. Or even, adjacent. Caliburn is this universe's version of... what's his name? He's in Hellraiser. He's a character in DC. He's Scouse. He smokes a lot. He's got bleached blonde hair. Constantine. Thank you. That name had just completely... John Constantine had just completely left my mind. He even looks like him in game. Even looks like Constantine. Anyway, so during the recent blood moon, some Turakian ruins were uncovered beneath Millennium City, near City Hall. The Trey King's jury rig saw are demon worshippers from Vibora Bay. They've learned that a powerful artifact called the Obelisk of Dominion is hidden away somewhere in the ruins. That obelisk could be key to bringing about the apocalypse, so naturally we need to make sure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Okay, so this gives a little bit more of an explanation as to why the second line of her info text is so suspicious. Val's in a weird spot because they introduce her so soon before revealing she's a traitor, so we don't get a good feel for what she did before becoming a traitor. Oh, man. Yeah. Bit of a shame, that, really. It'd be more compelling and more of a twist if you were more familiar with her before she turns. Like, it would be more of a betrayal if you had any kind of connection with her before. I mean, this basically, and I don't think that the small amount that we do in Queen City can really count as getting to know her. I mean, all that she appears in Queen City is to be a club owner who also is a superhero. She doesn't take kindly to the dogs gang trying to shake her down for protection money, and sends you out to beat them up for her, which, fair enough. But oh, where am I supposed to be going? Aha. I thought that perhaps the ruins would be revealed with like an earthworks, like the mission over here where you encounter elder worms. I thought that maybe there'd be some kind of excavation. Oh, that's odd. I wonder why. I'm sure that this is a marker for the gateways, isn't it? There's one over in West Side. Yeah. So this map shows the location of stuff that happens during Blood Moon. Oh, and there's this as well, isn't there? I completely forgot about it, but there's, in this construction site, there's a similar crack in the earth, but instead of purple, it's blue-white, and that never has any explanation, as far as I've seen. Anyway, so I was expecting something like a hole in the street. Ravenforce. Ah, yes, the old location of Mystic Foundry. Oh, okay, something that's been removed. Hawkman, want to see what'll really blow your mind? Go ahead. I mean, once we're done with this, I assume. Isn't this a cheery-looking chap? Ooh, yeah. He must run up a huge bill with dentists. The Trey Kings are a possessed gang that runs rampant in the financial district of Vibora Bay, manipulating the minds of citizens and forcing them to join their gang. That sounds pretty awful. Hawkman, the Christmas boxes that the toy event from Christmas are also visible on the MC map year round. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. I'll have to check for them in a bit when we come out. This guy also missing hands. So he's just got blades for strapped to his forearms, which must make going to the toilet very awkward. I wonder if these strap aficionado smaller ones are helpers. Oh, command, they're tiny coloured specks that you don't realise are important if you don't know what they are. Okay. Flare. Let's see if this has any different information. No. Part of me thinks that these guys are supposed to look a bit like, or be reminiscent of, the Cenobites from Hellraiser, the film, rather than the comic book. I mean, I realise I did mention Hellraiser a little earlier, but when I mentioned Hellraiser at that time, I meant the comic book series that is the series that Constantine is the main character of. I mean, they probably can't go very far into making these guys look like Hellraisers because of copyright issues. But I think it's close enough to be reminiscent. Hawkman, yeah, they are a bit like Cenobites, and like Cenobites, they're forced to live like this. And here we have a manipulator. Oh yeah, he's even more Cenobite-ish, isn't he? I mean, the horns on his chin, tusks? I wouldn't know what to call them, are more demonic, but spikes driven into his skull. Yeah, this is exactly the same in mission. Well, not in character info. It's interesting that he's got a buff constantly on him. There's a lot more of the Trey Kings than you ever see of the Cenobites, though. Because I suppose the Cenobites individually are supposed to be super powerful, and you probably wouldn't necessarily ever see a lot of them in one place. Because there'd be no reason for a lot of them to collect together. Of course, while I was wondering earlier if Devourers need help going to the bathroom, I probably am taking things a little too literally. They've been heavily warped by magic. They don't even have most sense organs available to humans. Perhaps they subsist on magic and don't actually excrete anything, at least not in the way that humans do. My Hawkman, if I recall correctly, the movies basically suggest that the Cenobites are mostly a dead cult, and the main Cenobites are the high priests of the Order. I've never actually watched any of the Hellraiser films, to be fair. I've read some of the comics actually, and read about Hellraiser on TV Tropes and on Wikipedia. I'm not a huge fan of horror, generally speaking. At least not film horror. I can read horror just fine. In fact, I quite enjoy Lovecraft's stuff. Purple prose that it is. It's easier to separate myself out from the events if it's written, I think. Anyway, I haven't watched Hellraiser. I might be able to manage, but as a general rule, avoid horror film and TV, because I get too caught up in it. It stresses me out. It's not an enjoyable experience for me. And if you're not enjoying it, then why bother doing it? When I was a teen, they actually showed them on cable TV. Otherwise, I'd never have seen them either. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, Hawkman, that I see people mention that they saw as teens or even as kids. And I'm just like, wow. The 90s were a different time. Or an even earlier, really. Depending on when you when you were growing up. Hawkman, Hellraiser is a whole lot of gruesome shock and not really all that good. Gruesome. Yeah, that was the 90s, yeah. Okay. I don't want to assume. And I think they probably made rather too many Hellraiser films as well. I think they made like 5 or 6, maybe 7 of them. A lot more than you'd think. Or a lot more than I'd thought, certainly. And apparently they got a lot worse as they went on. So, I mean, whether a film is good or not is subjective. There are a lot of people who really, really enjoy Hellraiser, so I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it's rubbish. Especially because I haven't actually watched any of it. Female Trey Kings members, that's... It's probably better to not imagine what happens behind closed doors in the Trey Kings. I mean, we've already had statements from the info text that Trey Kings prowl around looking for more members, which they gain by mind controlling people into the cult. So I have to imagine that most of the people that we're fighting here are victims who have been mind controlled, well, I mean, whose minds have been eroded and destroyed through psychic magic, mind magic. What cheery decorations? And probably aren't savable anymore. Like, if there's anything left of the people that they once were, killing them is probably a relief. Raven Force, I feel like they feed on souls or something, because they are identical to Clifothic horrors, so maybe that's what they eventually become. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen any Clifothic demons yet. I mean, I haven't done any of the, like, Demon Flame adventure pack or anything. Ooh, that's interesting. It's a different looking chap. Nephilim are powerful, new line, because apparently that's necessary. Half angel, half demon creatures who serve Thrakiel, corrupted beings formed out of cosmic conflict under the control of a dark master. Gonna get... No, we aren't going to get a... cutscene or anything coming in here. Is it just me, or is this dual-toned? Green and red, or sort of yellow-green, like lime green. It's interesting that mobs have these uniquely coloured dual-tone powers when players can only have... I recognise that animation as well. That's the attacks he's using are celestial power set attacks. Raven Force, yeah, Hellfire things. Yeah, he just used a couple of attacks. I think Rebuke and Celestial Conduit, certainly. Because, well, the animations match. No, Infernal Supernatural has different animations, and the there are certain colours in like a black smoky sort of colour in like Defile and Infernal Blast that look different. Like the animation of the attack and of the like beam of power that comes out is different to the way that the celestial ones look. Anyway, Raven Force, sort of a mix. Some of the power trajectories are unique. Hawkman, I play celestial DPS character. Okay, well, fair enough. I mean, you're probably more familiar with the way that the things look than I am then. He's got a wide range of... Is that a... That was a laser attack sword. See, that's the animation from Rebuke, I think. But he definitely just pulled out a laser sword to hit me with. Nephilim do very much use celestial powers. Yeah, I remember reading that. Not the Trey Kings. I remember reading on TV Tropes, I think, that what a cheery sound. I wonder what is producing the light behind these. We're underground. Ravenforce, they do, but Trey King's Minute was using odd powers. So apparently, is it these dots? That mark Christmas presents during the Christmas event. Hawkman. Yeah, some enemies use custom powers players don't get. Yeah. So these dots that you can see around on the map are where presents will turn up during the Christmas event. Oops. Oh, jeez. Can someone find a superhero? I'm stuck in a tree. There we go. Free at last. Oh, Hawkman, some of what you pointed out are debris objects, but you get the idea. Okay. So not all of the ones that I pointed out. I did think that that was quite densely packed for objects you're supposed to find whilst flying around. But, okay, so not all of them will turn out to be presents. But I'm sure during the event, if you open up your map and zoom in real close, you'll be able to find out which ones are actually presents and which ones aren't. I'm just going to go over to the rift that I pointed out earlier because I'm very curious about it. I want to actually demonstrate it for those watching who may not have played. This thing, it's always mystified me. Okay, so it's not actually blue-white, it's yellow-white. I have always wondered what this was and why everyone's so nonchalant about being near it. Like, I guess I get that this is a weird universe and strange stuff happens, but this is pretty weird, even for a universe like this. Just building site with a huge rift in it. Apparently this leads to, or used to lead, where did it used to lead to? Mystic Foundry, although I'm not sure what that is. Hawkman, the bright green red ones are most likely to be boxes. Okay, so these then, I assume. The blue ones probably aren't. Let's go and see if we can find out what the blue ones are. Nothing that's currently here. No. I've got no idea what. What that could be marking. Anyway. Enough time has been spent on that, I think. Let's go back to our Contact Valerian Scarlet. Hawkman, yeah, all sorts of event items are seen on the world map year round. Okay. You really have to zoom in to see that they're there as well. Oh, different people this time. Wonder what this character... I wonder what the theme of her powers are. If she has any powers. I suppose in a universe like this, where superheroes go around dressed in skin-tight or even revealing costumes, you've probably got a lot of freedom as someone who likes to wear similar clothing to wander around and not be bothered by other people. I mean, how many of these do you suppose actually have superpowers, and how many are just fans of the way that they dress? Technical issues. I wasn't sure you were going to make it back. The Trey Kings are tough opponents. I guess I underestimated you. Indeed you did. The Hawkman also Caprice caters to superheroes. Yes, I have read oblique references to Club Caprice being the place where role players go if they want to be adult. Not really spent a whole lot of time here myself, though, so I haven't actually seen that. Raven Force Caprice has definitely deviated from the lore entry for it, but I figure it's a good mix of cosplaying civilians and actual heroes. Well, Hawkman, yeah, ominous foreshadowing. Valerian was expecting you to die. Well, I always love disappointing villains, Raven Force, as well as socially acceptable villains. Well, nice job. Now for the next step. In order to cast the spell to seal the Obelisk, I'll also need some very rare spell ingredients. I know a pair of twin sorcerers in Demon who carry the stuff I need. Of course, they use it for black magic, so you'll be doing the world a favour, taking it from them. Hold on a sec. I sense them somewhere beneath downtown. Not deep enough to be in the crypts, the sewers maybe. Somewhere near Sakura Park. Find the twins and get their spell ingredient pouches for me. I mean, I realise that actually doing the stuff that helps her achieve her goals is a nice job breaking it hero kind of thing. But along the way, we are beating the tar out of Trey Kings initially, and now we'll be doing it to Demon. I think how Argent gets ahead. This will probably be beating up Argent. Along the way, we're doing a lot of good, I think. It's just a shame that characters in Champions Online have absolutely no choice about how stories go. You can either take the mission or not, but that's not really a story choice. It just means that you don't experience that story. Hawkman, also from an in-universe POV, there's a lot of weak superheroes, like sidekick level characters. Yeah, I mean, I realise, as with most MMOs, by the time you're max level, your character is supposed to, in-universe, be amongst a very small handful of extremely powerful people. Whether it be WoW, or Lord of the Rings Online, or a DDO, or this, or DCUO. As you get closer to max level, there are supposed to be fewer of those level of people. We're supposed to have been doing this at about level 37, because that's the level of the opponents we were facing before. So I'm slightly over-leveled for it. We saw that most of the opponents were had under-level, like, colours in their names to show that they were weaker than me. Even the supervillain level manipulator was green rather than even blue or white, strong white. Grey is, I think, more than, well, obviously it's 3 or more levels below you. Anyway, so it's kind of odd that Valerian Scarlet had such low expectations of us that we would fall. I mean, we by the point that we're talking to her and facing the Trey Kings, going and getting the thing for her, we are supposed to have done a huge amount elsewhere in the world. I mean, the reason that I'm level 40 now rather than 37 is that I've got XP booster gear. Although I may still be max level anyway because of the fact that I've just done absolutely everything. But still, like, by the point that I'm talking to her, I'm supposed to be super powerful. And so it does seem odd that she expected so little of me. Or maybe it's just supposed to be playing up the Trey Kings as being super, super dangerous. My Hawkman also from an in-universe POV. Oh, right, yeah, I've already read that, sorry. You've brought me the Obelisk of Dominion, but there's another magical relic in this city I need to secure. Can't be too careful when dealing with the apocalypse, you know? It's a powerful relic from ancient Lemuria. The idiots who have it think it's a statue piece, but I have it packed up in a warehouse in Westside. It's actually the petrified head of one of the bleak ones, and it has enormous magical potential. Yeah, that's bad news, isn't it? Bring the head back to me before some 2-bit hedge wizard figures out what it is and starts to misuse it. I mean, I know that she's going to misuse it, but making sure that it's not out there somewhere for some random idiot to misuse is probably a good thing. Hawkman Demon is interesting because they have a stupid amount of money. Why? Because they have day jobs and are generally competent managers and whatever. Which also means that demon members are actually productive citizens as a general rule when not doing demon stuff. It's like how Argent is a megacorp that actually sells a whole lot of useful products. So demon are like basically the 1%. That just makes me even more willing to beat the tar out of them. Where am I going again? Over here. Wow, okay. I do just want to check, whilst I still remember... What's her name? No, Blackman, okay. I thought maybe the person that we saw on Monday, or on Wednesday now, aren't we? In Canada, who somehow knew what the Crowns of Crim were, despite being a minor. I thought maybe his surname would match that person's, but no. Her name is Blackman, and I think the guy in Canada was called... I think it also began with a B, but it definitely wasn't Blackman. Barrett, I want to say. Oh, interesting. Oh, hey, there's a book. Have I read this? From the Journal of Denise Perkins. Success, with the help of some of ancient language scholars. With the help of some of ancient language scholars. Yeah, there's a mistake there, isn't there? That probably wants to be with the help of some... Just missed the second of there out. Ancient language scholars in the history department, I am much more confident in the translation of the strange characters on what's now being called the Elder Worm tablets. We've translated the second tablet fragment, which tells of a mysterious race of immortals called Empyrenes, who apparently came to the aid of early humans and helped overthrow the Elder Worms in a series of great battles. Now, if only I could find some additional evidence to corroborate this strange account of humanity's earliest history. This is where we came to... This should, in story terms, have been the first place that we encountered Elder Worms, I think. Even before Monster Island. Because we would have gotten the mission... Oh, but not this mission. Because when we came here before and entered that same location, we came to a very, like, crudely dug out sort of mine, but lined with soft earth. Hawkman Demon are technically bad guys, but are semi-respectable. Well, they have the veneer of being semi-respectable. Although, quite how respectable high-powered stockbrokers and bankers can genuinely be considered to be is, in my opinion, debatable. But coming and electrocuting them is something I'm very happy to do. Practitioners of the black arts and devotees of dark magic, Demon is the largest and most dangerous occult organization in the world. Demon is a secret society with a rigid hierarchy, whose ultimate goal is to free the dreaded kings of Edom, so Demon's leader, the diabolical Luther Black, can ascend to one of the Edomic thrones. This diabolical demonologist can summon infernal fiends, in addition to wielding a wand that drains victims of vital life energy. Now, when the game says a wand that can drain victims, does it actually mean a huge sword? Raven Force, aside from the human sacrifice. Yeah. Well, I mean, what they get up to in their private lives is probably not supposed to be something that people would generally know. Also, I do wonder how people, maybe not him, maybe not these guys, but the 2 health bar guy villain, Ballbane, with the like heavily scarred up non-human face. I do wonder how he's supposed to appear human in everyday life. Like, also, I have a strong objection to referring to this big-ass sword as a magic wand that drains life. I mean, I suppose you can technically call that true, but it seems misleading. A Hawkman illusion magic, maybe? Yeah, I suppose I'm discounting small magics that you never actually see characters employ in the game, because they're not necessary for a player character in combat to use. Raven Force, there are wands and then giant swords. I think Morbanes have some sort of glamour. Yeah, probably. I mean, I guess I didn't really consider it. Still... it's still strange to think that you might have guys in big offices wearing glamours so that their horrible faces aren't visible to the ordinary humans that they work with or meet with. Oh, man, you actually do sometimes see enemies in story missions that are disguised as civilians. Yeah, that's true. And I guess you do occasionally disguise yourself. Do you? I mean, you turn invisible. Oh yes, you do. You disguise yourself as a member of the New Purple Gang to sneak in. And the disguise conveniently resizes you as well. So no matter what size you are, no matter if you're a hulking robot or covered in fur, wearing the new Purple Gang outfit still disguises you enough that none of the other Purple Gang members are remotely suspicious of you when you turn up. I have wondered occasionally about making, you know, particularly with the larger characters, the really, really bulky ones, I have occasionally wondered about making an actual new Purple Gang disguise that doesn't resize anything or particularly even really hide the most, the biggest, strangest aspects of the character. Well, Hawkman, it doesn't work to hide Phoenix Flight. I haven't actually tried Phoenix Flight in the disguise, I don't think. And probably also then it doesn't disguise Shadow Wings either. But, I mean, it doesn't do anything to disguise any travel power, so even ordinary flight like this, you can just drift by the new Purple Gang members inches above the floor and none of them notice. See that the oh no, they've decided to join in. I thought that they were going to stand there and pretend not to be involved, or pretend not to know the Morabane. Ah, we have the both of them together. Alisteria Crove, Antonia Crove. It's the same info text. It's a bit of a shame. Do you suppose their name is supposed to be adjacent to Crowley? Hawkman, the Purple Gang costume doesn't hide any power visuals. Yeah, I headcanon it as the gang, assuming you're a minor supervillain. Yeah, I suppose. What's she agreeing to? Neither of them said anything, and then she just says, "Agreed, sister." Maybe they're psychic? I guess? Got a telepathic link. Your soul will be mine. Well, it can only be one. It can only be one of yours, and also, no, it's not going to. Although I do wonder. Oh, he's still alive. That's weird. I've already decided that the character I'm playing is actually just kind of a bio puppet. So she doesn't actually have a soul. Moving force, possibly. I'm just glad those twins aren't the Vandeleur twins. Those two are disgusting. Do we meet the Vandeleur twins later, or have I already met them? Am I supposed to have met them already? I don't remember any Vandeleur twins. Are the Vandeleur twins in the game? Or are you referencing something else? Raven Force. God, no, thank God. Oh wow, that's right on the other side of the map, isn't it? Jeez. It's about as far away as you could possibly have put that, isn't it? Perhaps Valerian is trying to waste my time. Force. Their motto is essentially incest is incest. They are from lore. Oh, okay. So they haven't shown up in the game. Well, who knows? I mean, maybe those two Crove twins also feel the same way. It's just that with two twins of the same gender, it's a bit less fraught, genetically speaking. You know, I've occasionally wondered how fast it is we're supposed to be able to fly, because you can get a rough idea of flight speed because you can determine how far you are away from a target, because your powers are either available or not, because some powers have a 100-foot range and some have a 50-foot range and some have like less than that. So if you've got a rough idea of how far you are away from a point in space in the game, you can time how long it takes for you to traverse that space, which puts flight fairly slow, I think. But when you're actually... the animation, when you're actually at full speed, you have contrails that you leave behind. Well, okay, so let's illustrate that now. There we go. Leave contrails behind when you first hit max speed, which suggests that you are capable of moving, I think it's close to the speed of sound that contrails start forming. No, Hawkman, if you use /lock, you can /LOC, you can see the total distance moved. You have to do math to figure out, because /LOC is chords. Yeah, okay. Well, you don't even need to know specifically, like, to a high degree of accuracy, how fast you are, because I don't think that it matters very much. My point was, I think you can go at about 67... oh geez, what would it have been? No, I don't remember. I don't remember why I thought that the number that I came up with was 67, or what unit of measurement that would have been in. So basically it was entirely useless for me to have said it. But it's not fast, it's not more than 100 miles an hour, but the contrails that you leave behind when you fly at max speed suggests to me that you're supposed to be going around the speed of sound, because that's, well, speed of sound is when you start leaving contrails. Which is significantly faster than you actually travel when you're in the game. Although, having said that, it would be monstrously difficult to actually control your character if they genuinely were capable of moving at the speed of sound in universe, like in the game. You'd cross the city in a flash. You'd barely be able to control yourself. You want to see electricity attacks? I'll show you electricity attacks. Counter agent. You little shit. Raven Force. Thank goodness there's no impact damage for flying into stuff. Yeah. Although when we get to DCUO, you'll see that it's possible to build a character who attacks using their ability to fly. It's not... It's difficult for me to explain without actually demonstrating it, but you have a travel power that's separate to all your attack powers and all your weapon powers, as you do in this. I mean, movement powers in this are separate, but rather than just having advantages you can put into your travel powers in here to make them faster, in DCUO you have a bunch of attack powers that you can select with what is basically the same as advantage points. Well, I mean, adjacent. The systems are different, but they form the same function. So you can make your flight faster. You can cause it so that if you zoom down for a certain amount of time, when you I'll show you when we get to the game, which will probably be a few months away, but basically you can choose advantages to add to your movement power, some of which are attacks, and you can probably build not an entire power set of attacks because you've got a much smaller action bar in DCUO, a maximum of 7 objects that you can, well, powers that you can put in. So a full suite of attack powers in DCUO would be 6, I think. 6 powers. But this is powers which are separate from weapons, and you've got a whole suite of combat combos that you can use with your weapons that don't take up slots in your action bar at all. So anyway, you can assign yourself, you can buy and assign yourself attack powers from your travel power, whether that be super speed or flight or whatever. And I haven't done it, but you could, if you wanted to, build your character's attacks all around whatever travel power you've got. Hawkman. I used to play DCUO, but I quit way back in 2010 because I got locked out of my account and their support basically ignored me. Wow, that's bad customer service. I'm sorry you had that experience. That's no fun. That must have been incredibly frustrating. Luckily, I haven't had that issue. I forget whether you need to buy the game or not. I think it might be free to play. So I suppose if you really had a yen for it, you could create a new account, and all that you'd be missing is whatever you'd managed to earn for your character at the time. But since it stopped being a subscription game, you can play for free, provided that you've got an account and you've got the game. As I said, I don't remember whether you need to buy the game or not, but you can play for free without having to pay subscription, which is good generally. You can still subscribe, and there are some advantages to subscribing. Like, you have a maximum amount of, I think, 2,000 of the currency, the game's currency, that you can have before it caps out, and everything that you earn over that goes into escrow, which I have a very, very limited understanding of finance terms, but I think means that it's held in trust for you, basically, until you can come and claim it. And if you pay to subscribe, you're able to have you basically remove the limit on your the money you can have at one time, so you claim back all of the escrow. And I forget what else there are in terms of advantages. You get access to end game content, I think. So as a free player, you get a certain amount of access. Like basically, once you reach the end game, you get short adventure packs that give you more content to do and get you better gear, which is how you progress past max level and into end game. And you can do some of those whilst you're playing for free, but some of it is limited, or there is a cap, like a threshold beyond which you can't go if you're playing for free exclusively. I do just want to note that those two missions that we did, this one and the one against the demon chaps on the other side of the map, are laid out very differently, and I like the way that was laid out. So the mission the final room wasn't the one that contained the objective and the boss. It made it feel like the mission was taking place inside of an active used space, so that there were like extra guards between you and the other exit, or the exit, like the two entrances. So you came in through one entrance and fought through a couple of rooms and corridors and came to the objective of the mission and the person who was defending it, and defeated them, collected the object, and then there was a bit more to the mission. Rather than just having an exit door there was an extra corridor and a room, which made it feel like, you know, the object that's being kept safe there actually had guards on both ends. Whereas if the mission was had ended at the room with the objective and you could leave there, it raises the question, why doesn't your character enter through that door rather than leave? Because you'd cut out all the worry of dealing with the rest of the guys who you faced at the beginning. I mean, sure, the structure of it is, it's not in the middle of the sequence of rooms and corridors. It's more towards the end, but it still felt like there was more going on. Oh, I wonder why there's a load of people out here. There's a bouncer with bionic leg, at least, if not also, well, probably cybernetic arms, and that's a bouncer who's some kind of Sasquatch or beast man. Wonder why she's got an eye patch. Hawkman, the in-game clock, certain time of day. There's a line outside. Oh, okay, fair enough. We must be... Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, is that supposed to be the moon? Or the sun? Because the stars are out, and it looks like it's nighttime. Is that... What on earth? Is that supposed to be the moon? Just wondering about one of the bouncers, why she's got an eye patch when she's also got cybernetic implants. Like, could she not afford the implant for the eye, or is the eye patch covering a special cybernetic eye that perhaps doesn't look as human? Hawkman, the sky is weird because of the Cliffothic crap event. Raven Force, I think it might be the sun filtered through the dimensional distortion in MC. Is there an event going on at the moment? I thought that I didn't think that there was one between Blood Moon and Christmas. Oh, there is. Oh, okay. Shows how much I pay attention. Nightmare Invasion event. Ooh, that sounds like a bad time. Does it always... Oh, well, I haven't been on since Wednesday, so I suppose if it started yesterday... That's fair. Do you suppose these guys are twins? Or maybe they're the fans of the same Lucha Libre. Generally speaking, in wrestling, if you have twins, they wear similar but not identical outfits. They would probably have slightly different colours to tell them apart. Like one would look palette swapped compared to the other. The Hawkman. Ha, there's a pool of random costumes and the game just picks stuff at random. Yeah, I know that that's the Doyleist explanation, but I'm thinking of the Watsonian explanation. Oh, there's another one! They're triplets! Or perhaps it's one person with a duplication power and for some reason really likes having conversations with themselves. Pretty impressive technical issues. I thought getting my hands on those components was going to be a real headache. Can you feel the power coming out of it? I can't believe somebody thought this was just an ordinary statue. The thought plickens. Apparently, this is when we go and fight Robert Caliburn. Apparently, we don't just take his gem from him. We also take his clever bracelet, his ring, and his abiding implant, which implies that we rip stuff out of him, which is... It's impressive that he is willing to work with us after this, I suppose. Not half bad technical issues. I'm really glad I ran into you. You've brought me just about everything I need, but there's a snag. I'm not the only mage from Vibora Bay who's looking for these artifacts. The man at the center of the plot to cause the apocalypse is Robert Caliburn, and he's come here to Millennium City. Remember what I said about not wanting these artifacts to fall into the wrong hands? As far as I'm concerned, that means Caliburn. Which, to be fair, is true of her. From her point of view, she probably doesn't want the artifacts falling into his hands because they count as the wrong hands, because she is convinced that what she's doing is right. Hawkman, nah, the mission reward is what Caliburn gives you. Oh. It is odd that the rewards are listed here whilst talking to her, though. I mean, I know that that's the way that the world has to work because of the rules and the way that the system works. But it's odd that the list of rewards are available whilst you're talking to her. Anyway, I'm going to start preparations for a ritual to seal up the obelisk and the Bleak One's head, all nice and safe. While I'm doing that, you take care of Caliburn. If I know him, he'll be in the slummiest part of town. There's a disguised section of the old Detroit sewers near the docks. He may be hiding out there. Let him have it, technical issues. He won't go easy on you, I promise. So where are we going? West side, probably. Yeah, here we are. Let's fly there. Ooh, actually, we can use the teleporter next to Thingamy. Ice Queen, but dressed as Black Cat for some reason. Okay. Oh, that's the Untitled headquarters. I want to go to... Oh. Neither of these take me where I thought they would go. I suppose it's changed. Anyway, I suppose I can't teleport. One of them, when you leave the powerhouse for the first time after either making a new character and skipping the tutorial or doing the tutorial. One of the two, and I think it's the one on the right when you're facing Defender, teleports you down here to Kodiak. Oh, Hawkman. Yeah, you'd think that Val would tell you what she's going to give you and not what Caliburn gives you after you swap sides, but it's in-game, a gameism really. Yeah, I know that you can't, when it comes to the systems of the game and the way that it functions as a game, you can't really apply logic as though it was a real world. Wow, that's a lot of Trey Kings. He's really been busy, hasn't he? This is more than we faced in any one room when we fought them, but this is possibly as many Trey Kings as we faced in the whole of the mission where we fought them. And there's even more here. So Caliburn has really been putting the boot in, hasn't he? Oh, that's fallen in. Nothing up there either. And that's entirely blocked all the way from the start. Hawkman, if I recall correctly, Val sent an army to kill him and failed, so she sent you. What's in the desk? Well, we'll find out, won't we? Dear Valerian's lackey, I don't know who you are, but it's clear Valerian has made a new friend here in Millennium City. Her normal minions aren't this good. Well, by the time you read this, you should be looking for a new boss. I'm coming for Valerian, and neither of you are going to stop me. The way I see it, she just saved me the trouble of collecting the artifacts myself. If you make yourself scarce, maybe I'll decide it's not worth my time to hunt you down after I've dealt with her. He's not really coming across very much as a superhero, but then, given that he's based on Constantine, he wouldn't. So, if he worded that differently, there probably would be enough of a suggestion there to make us think, maybe he's not a bad guy. But as it is, he's just threatening us straight up, and not really painting himself in a very good light. I thought it was just night. I didn't realise that this is weird effects from an event. I'm not quite sure who I'd need to talk to do the event. Oh yeah, plot thickens. Hawkman, the regular event location. I don't know where that is. I don't take part in events very much. What's over here? Oh, this is actually where it takes place.
I wondered how long it would take you to find me, Caliburn.
Hand over the artifacts, Val. Maybe I'll go easy on you.
I don't think so. Why don't you pick on somebody your own size?
Full of surprises, aren't you? Don't think this will slow me down for long.
I'm good. Go on, Caliburn. Kick her about a bit. Oh, Hawkman, next to the powerhouse entrance. Okay. I'll check there in a bit. Ravenforce, I love this fight because he can be knocked. Well, none of my powers knock anyone. I'll stun him, but I can't actually knock him. Before he was Robert Caliburn, the Magnum Mage, and a contender for the all-powerful position of Archmage, Robert Caliburn was simply Robert Cole, a grunt soldier in the Vietnam War. Everything changed for him the day he found a hidden jungle temple and stole away with the powerful Flame Gem, one of 4 powerful elemental gems of mankind. Following the whispers of the gem, he travelled the world and became a powerful arcane warrior, a formidable sorcerer who has never forgotten the value of a loaded pistol at his side. Prophecies say that Caliburn is to be a key player in the war between heaven and hell. It's a little bit awkward that they repeat powerful flame gem, one of 4 powerful elemental gems. It's like, you don't need to qualify that the rest of the elemental gems are powerful if you say that one of them is. It would be odd if only one of the elemental gems were powerful. Hawkman, you can get a Clefothic Imp minion by doing the Nightmare Chicken fight daily 10 times. Guess what Val wants you to steal from Caliburn? Yep. His elemental gem. He's got a trench coat on, just like Constantine does, generally. It's not quite the same colour, and he's also not blonde. Constantine does make use of guns, but not to the same extent that Caliburn does. This light display is kind of obnoxious. I wonder why he's facing away from us the whole time.
At last, I have Caliburn's Flame Gem. This could cause a world of trouble in the wrong hands. Like mine, for instance. Kill them both. I'm taking this straight to Therakiel.
What a twist. Are any parts of her costume available to players? Amazing, he's back on full health. Why didn't he do that before? If he could heal that quickly. Raven Force, but there is a serious concern that you won't realise how powerful they are. All parts are available now, including Aura. Oh, cool! How do you get them? Do you get them through grinding? Can you get them through random drop, or do you have to buy them from a vendor of some kind? A Hawkman, you can do full-on Nephilim outfits too. Yeah, I've tried that. You can only do Nephilim shin armor if you've got the Beastman legs, which I find annoying because I'd quite like to have Nephilim shin guards that don't require you to have digitigrade legs. This is just great. Valerian's got the Obelisk of Dominion and everything she needs to break its seal. Worse, she has the elemental gem of flame. My elemental gem of flame. You don't have a clue what you've just done, do you? The whole situation is a mess. You got us here, so you better believe you're going to help fix it. Pack up your extra tights, hero. We're going to Vibora Bay. Point of order. I don't wear tights. I realise that the rubber outfit underneath the armour is quite tight, but it's not tights in the same way that superheroes have. Just pray we're in time to stop the apocalypse, or being on my bad side will be the last of your worries. So, I wonder where he's pulled his implant from. Is this going to be... This is almost exactly the same info, except it's got a little bit extra here. It is for this reason Therakiel launched a preemptive attack on Caliburn using Valerian Scarlet to steal the Flame Gem. That would have been nice info to have before we beat him up. My Hawkman, her bodysuit requires you kill like a zillion Nephilim, then buy it for 975 SRC, which I did. Okay. I forget how many exactly. At least 1,000, I think. Okay, so it's quite a grind then. Because just getting enough of that that currency is also quite a grind. I don't know of a good way to farm it, but I have not tried. I haven't asked anyone, so I don't know. Time is short, technical issues, so I'll be brief. You just handed the keys to Armageddon to one of the most vile human beings on the planet, and she is taking them straight to her master, Thrakiel. Thrakiel is a being who is half angel and half demon. Neither half is wrapped very tight. If Scarlet reaches him before we do, he plans to pit heaven and hell against each other and then rule whatever is still standing when the smoke clears. I am going to Vibora Bay to stop her, and you are coming with me. Take the jet to Vibora and then meet me at Dr. Carr's. When you get there, head north from the docks and look for a building with a pair of sphinxes flanking the door. Okie dokie. I mean, to be fair, you didn't really present yourself as very much of a good guy in your note or when you were threatening Valerian, but given that she's particularly vile, I think I'll let you off. I probably would use similar language when talking to someone who was awful. Malhoffman, alert dailies give you at least 5 SRC a day. The custom alerts give another 5 most days. Okay. So it's still quite a grind if you can get 10 a day and you need 1,000. Golden Seraph with quite a wild looking vehicle behind her. I don't know, is it an enclosed vehicle? I can't see any way that you could ride on it. I have to assume that it's enclosed. Those are the easiest sources. Okay, fair enough. Lugworm. Oh, it's an Elder Worm character. Presumably a good one. No infotext though. That's a bit of a shame. Red part is a windshield. Well, I'll take your word for it. Why do you need windshield down here? What costume pieces are those? Oh, those are I could recreate that costume. There's nothing unique there.
The shadow always threatens to consume the light.
Okay, anyway, let's head to Vibora. You need windshield by your feet so they can look out. Oh, do I want Vibora Bay Crisis? I probably do, don't I? Whoops.
Poor little heroes. Don't you know that truth and justice and peace talk gets you nowhere? Power is all that matters. It's the one thing that can get you what you want. You can do anything. Even make little costumed freaks do the work for you. Sure, Vibora Bay has heroes. Like that so-called mystic Dr. Ka, and that wannabe ninja Red Snake. They're not gonna stop us. No one can. Not even that costumed tramp Black Mask. Or you. And especially not my Caliburn. I doubt you can appreciate what's really going on. Idiot. So let me make it clear. Say goodbye to the world you knew. When Thrakiel is done with this place, everything will change. And I'll be the one with all the power.
First of all, she's in a costume too. I don't know where she gets off calling us costume freaks. With such vitriol in her voice, like it's an insult. I mean, maybe she's fine with being a costume freak as well, but there seems to be some kind of dichotomy, a divide in her mind where she's not a costume freak and everyone else is. Despite the fact that, well, she wasn't even just in one costume. She was in 2 costumes, one of which definitely looked like an arcane superhero. Don't know where she gets off pretending that she's different. Do we have the text of her? No, it doesn't look like it. That's a shame. So, when villains talk about all you need is power, power is the ability to do work. It's not... It's not better than abstract concepts like justice. Power is what allows you to, or would allow you if you were inclined and had power, to apply justice. By the stars, I'm glad you're here. Technical issues. Matthias Don took the name Homenius when he became a member of the Trismegistus Council, a circle of white wizards dedicated to protecting the Earth from supernatural threats. Dark circles under his eyes show that he hasn't gotten much sleep in the past few days. Hawkman, power as a means to an end, not an end. Yeah. It's something by which you achieve another goal. It's awfully short-sighted and stupid to say, my goal is to attain power. It's like, okay, great. What are you going to do after that, knobhead? Abracadabras. When the Trismegistus Council first realized what Thrakiel was planning, we tried to wage open war against him. We were met with crushing defeat. Many of my fellow wizards were slaughtered, and their bodies still litter the battleground around the high apostolic church. Some of their mystic might remains in the form of their enchanted artifacts. If we can salvage some of these items, the Trismegistus Council can begin to rebuild its arcane arsenal. We cannot afford to let our magical weapons fall into the hands of the Trey Kings. Thank you, Technical Issues, for responding to our summons. I wish better circumstances had brought you to Vibora Bay. As you can see, the city is in chaos. The half-angel, half-demon Thrakiel has obtained the Flame Gem and is working to bring about the end of the world. Yeah, let's not look too deeply into how he managed to acquire the Flame Gem. Sure something dastardly and underhanded happened. The mystic Dr. Carr has protected his brownstone house across the street with powerful wards and is gathering a heroic host to oppose Thrakiel. The champions have already arrived from Millennium City, along with Robert Caliburn and several of Vibora Bay's own superheroes. They're waiting for you. I just remembered something else that Valerian Scarlett said about the world you knew was about to change, and I'm like, fuck off, the world is always changing. The only thing that remains consistent about life, the universe, and everything is that things change. Claiming smarmily that the world you knew was going to change is basically like saying the world you knew, for me anyway, for my money, based on my understanding of life, the universe and everything, things are always changing, sometimes slowly. So having her claim that the world you knew is going to change, it's like, fuck off. The world I knew was always changing. That's the world that I knew. You smug bint. Oh, here we are. Oh, she doesn't even have any info. Akako Yamamori. Raven Force. Just you wait, hero. Tomorrow will not be the same as today. Be afraid. Yeah. It's basically a... For me, for my money, it's an incredibly stupid threat. It's like warning someone that night will come, as though that doesn't happen at the end of every day. Anyway. Deeply unimpressed with you, Valerian Scarlet. Not just because you tricked me, but also because you're a cackling cliche, assured of your own power. I mean, that's what makes it fun to tear them down, and I wish that you could see the looks on the faces of the villains whose plans you foil, because that would be... Ooh, that would be perfect. But I can imagine it. The Trey Kings use a tome of black magic called the Libris del Diablo. That basically just means Book of the Devil, I think. Which is a bit on the nose. It's not even Libris del Maleficum or something. To tutor their new recruits. It takes years of study to make a wizard or witch of the Trismegistus Council, but with this enchanted book, the Trey Kings can teach an initiate enough black magic to be dangerous in only a few days. We are already outnumbered, technical issues. The Trey Kings have moved the Libris del Diablo since I first learned of it. We must track down its new location and destroy it. Search for clues on the Trey Kings in the city, especially their henchmen, who have recently been trained using the enchanted text. Okay, yep, I can do that too. It is a little bit annoying when mobs are spread out like that, because you can't always tell who's supposed to be part of what group and who you'll pull when you start a fight. With the Trey Kings, who don't have, as far as I'm aware, any cloaked or invisible mob types, it's not so much of an issue, but particularly with Viper, you can always tell when one guy on his own is going to be part of a group, but you can't always tell if his group is just off somewhere random, or what the... I thought maybe someone was stuck in the geometry or something, but oh man, this is one of those things where I just have to wonder how many of their recruits hand copied the book. Yeah, I wonder. Oh, because those guys just popped straight in, didn't they? Yeah, that's I have never seen an apocalyptic sky that I know of, but this definitely looks like one to me. This is definitely bad news city, isn't it? They've still got the croquet hoops out. Ooh, let's watch. Probably too close. I think they jump over them. Yeah, he's jumping over or avoiding them. They're obviously objects that are physically in the game. I wonder why. Why go to the bother of creating physical objects for... Oh man, it's that trope, that old trope in fiction. Unique tome with special knowledge. If it's really a book, then can't you just copy it? Well, the thing is, with a magic book, maybe you can't just copy it, because an integral part of it might be the magic. That it isn't as easy to copy as using a printing press. Particularly if it's a book that teaches, it might have some intelligence of its own. Now maybe that's reproducible. Maybe that's a reproducible feature or aspect. Maybe the ability to make teaching books is lost, and therefore it is valuable. Also, I was just thinking about this, but it probably wouldn't be possible to copy the same feat, but for good magic rather than evil, because the Trismegistus Council obviously acts as like an investigative sort of force, a check and balance sort of force, that obviously requires a lot more experience of magic than foot soldiers like these guys need. This evil book teaches them enough to be dangerous, but not enough to be like an equivalent of a Trismegistus Council member. Hawkman, okay, but even if you can't copy all of it, you could at least copy part of it. Yeah, I don't know how much... Oh, well, we can't see inside the book after all. I don't know how much of what's in the book is... like, just the text, and how much of just the text you would need. Like, can you learn everything you need from the book just by reading it? Or is there an element of it that is non-physical? We can't know, I would argue, because we can't ever read the book. Mansion key, copy of an old-fashioned door key. Attached is a small card with a street address. This must be where the Trio Kings are training their recruits using the Libris del Diablo. Okay. Oh, that's just into the brownstone. And this is collect talismans. I think I'll do the talisman thing first. Probably can't... Oh no, I can enter through the pyramid, and it's cool to see that the pyramid has cut through the buildings like this. I think I've actually got those wings. I could probably recreate the appearance. I don't have the full costume set. I don't have the tights or like the under parts, so I don't have this like cracked stone stuff. But I've got the loincloth and the... I don't have those shoulders, but I have a similar looking shoulder. Yeah, that's the laser sword hilt, isn't it? I've got some of the parts of the Nephilim, but I don't have all the Nephilim parts. Bought them on the auction house. And they're quite expensive. Hawkman. One of the popular magical enchantments is the gift to gift the reader with the ability to understand languages they don't know. Maybe it smooshes into your brain the ability to read Glyphothic runes. Yeah, maybe. Huh. I think this features in a mission that you do when you're actually in Vibora Bay proper, not Queen's Queen City Vibora Bay, or this version of Vibora Bay, because this is definitely a hidden entrance, and I'm pretty sure that you go in there during a mission later on. Apocalyptic Avenger Abatement. Thrakiel is reinforcing his army by creating new Nephilim. Perhaps you have seen them raining from the skies like meteors around the High Apostolic Church. In Thrakiel's haste to bring his soldiers to the fight, some of the Nephilim are not yet fully formed when they crash to Earth. Strike at them while they are vulnerable, and we can thin the numbers of his servants. Otherwise, we will be overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Yeah, sounds like a bad time. These things are glowing awfully bright, aren't they? Yeah, this has the info that you would get if you looked at the info text of any Nephilim. That's interesting. These are obviously an outer shell as well. You can see that they've got they're hollow. They've got a concave and convex side. So these are Nephilim eggs we're going around breaking. Ravenforce just hit me. We are asked to kill murder babies. Yeah, I'm fine with it, to be honest. I don't like kids anyway. And if they're easier to kill like this, rather than waiting... Oh, Hawkman, yeah, egg is a good way to put it. And then that burst of blue and red energy is obviously the still forming Nephilim. Let's go and huff some Nephilim, shall we? Mmm, spicy. We'll get you wicked high, we'll get you wicked dead. Or perhaps just wicked, it'll get you wicked. Full of part angel, part demon stuff. Round of applause for these evil chaps. Do not dare to lay your hands on me. Beware the death curse of a wizard. I beg your pardon. I see that you are not an enemy, and a friend in these times is a welcome sight indeed. Harry? Aleos? Omenos? They're all gone, aren't they? Probably. Makalani Rogers. Super old black dude. With a skull painted on his face for some reason. The Hawkman. By the way, want to guess what happens if you go to the bottom of the crack in the ground? I think it hurts you. I think it's basically like lava. Does it just kill you outright? I can't remember. I think I've done it before. But I don't remember, to be honest. I was one of the Trismegistus wizards who took part in the initial assault on Therakiel when he raised the High Apostolic Church out of the ground. I am sorry to say that it was a disaster. Therakiel and his servants were ready for us. Now I am sorely wounded and my magic is nearly spent. Can you then lead me to shelter? Yeah, sure. Let's do a escort mission in the middle of the apocalypse. Interesting that he regards these as enemies and targets as well, and attacks them. I wonder how exactly your magic is supposed to be almost spent. I mean, as a player, you never run out of magic, or at least it's not difficult to recover it remotely. In fact, it just regenerates on its own most of the time. So I don't exactly know. Maybe he's used up all his special limited use devices or something. Ravenforce, don't suggest it. My Hawkman hurts. Hurts is an understatement. Yeah, I thought so. My Hawkman, oh no. Ravenforce deals around 8k damage per tick. Wow, that's a lot. My Hawkman, many of the Trismegistus Council rely on devices to empower them. Yeah, okay, well that makes sense. That's probably why your character is so powerful, especially even relative to them, because your power comes from within you, not from devices or anything. Okay, you're gonna get moving. There he goes. Whoops. Just blown him up with the car there. I'm sure he's fine. You don't need to Skarnsbane the corpse. It's down, it's not getting up again. Wouldn't it be an enormous pain if he got stuck right here and you couldn't pull any enemies in for him to attack? In times past, the Archmage was responsible for protecting Earth from mystical threats like this, but there hasn't been an Archmage for 100 years. Well, not 1,000, that's probably why the Earth's still here, but there hasn't been an Archmage for 100 years. My thanks, hero. I would still be lying on the street if not for you. Resting. I do like that I'm still over leveled for this area, and as such, even the Nephilim How much health have I got? Whoops. I thought I would need to be closer for it to deal damage to me. But I could have managed to survive a tick of damage from it, because I've got 9,000 health. Crypt. It makes sense that you'd be able to see this in the ripped up parts of the earth floating beneath this. As I was saying, I do like that I'm over leveled even for this area, and as such the Nephilim still don't really want much to do with me unless I come really close. Even here, I'm just a little bit too dangerous to attack freely. They're all like, probably a bad idea. I'll do something if she gets closer, but whilst she's over there, she's fine. Well, I say fine. I don't really want to deal with that. Which is wise of them. I'm impressed this roof is still standing. Hold on a minute. This is focused upwards. It's like something within rose out. I wonder what. Possessed council member. I was wondering why there was someone who looked like a Trismegistus guy standing there. Possessed council member, yeah, that's helpful, thanks. I assume it's a mission to go and exorcise them. Oh, they've gotten interested. Okay. Trust me guys, that was a bad move. You shouldn't have done that. It has not ended well for you, has it? Guess we'll get introduced to her later. Ooh, there we are. Nearly done. There we go. Now let's go and pay a visit to the Trey Kings, shall we? Give him a bad time. Are any of these people, besides Defender and Shadow Destroyer over there, supposed to be known characters, or are they just like generic superheroes? Ravenforce think they're just player characters. Yeah, I thought so. Fair enough. Wish I could smash these. Oh, I can knock them off, but maybe they're protected magically against smashing. That would be sensible. Booted it and it's disappeared. Oh well, that's fine. I can destroy your couch! Haha! Hello. You really want me over here, do you? I can't say that's a good idea. I'm not more vulnerable just because I'm closer to you. Ravenforce, although it does make me wonder if the initial intention was for us to play alongside champs from cosmic scenarios. Yeah, that would be cool. It would make you feel more like you were part of the events. You get to do that in DCUO actually. When you're creating a new character, you pick either Superman, Batman or Wonder Woman as your mentor, and it also describes what the origin of your powers are. So if you pick Superman, it means that your powers are metahuman in origin, so because you get them either because you're an alien or a mutant, or because they come naturally to you somehow, or possibly because you were in like an accident with mutagenic chemicals, I think. Yes, because the Batman mentorship means that you got your powers through technology or invention. So like whatever power set you've got, if Batman is your mentor, it means that your powers come from the technology that you've developed or have access to, and Wonder Woman is magic. So if your powers come from wielding magic, and you get to fight alongside your mentor at various points in missions, so you'll help against so you can play as either a hero or a villain, and villains can pick either Lex Luthor, Joker or Circe, and at various points through the game you help your mentor against their opposite number, and my Hawkman DCUO is basically a superhero psychic simulator. Well, kind of. I like the design of those jeweled boxes. Yeah, the boxes look cool. You don't really ever stick with one superhero long enough to be called their sidekick. You get to fight alongside, and you take missions from a bunch of different JLA members, like the Flash and Green Lantern and Cyborg and Raven, certainly. and Zatanna. So, yes, you fight alongside JLA members and you help them, but you do also, when you get to high enough level, get to join the JLA. It's almost at max level, so it doesn't happen quickly, but at about level 10 you get to go to the watchtower, and when you're, as I said, almost max level, and I can't remember exactly what max level is. I think it's 30. You get to join, basically. Raven Force, I never tried it much in the past. Might download it and try it when you start. Well, I'd be happy to have you along and play alongside you. In DCUO, it's much easier to solo missions, so I wouldn't be in the business of needing help for very, very difficult missions. But as I said, very happy to play alongside you, especially if you're willing to play on stream. Hawkman, does it still have a system where your equipment has durability and slowly breaks? Yes, but I've never had an issue with my gear breaking. You always can repair it before it becomes an issue. And in fact, since I play games on and off, and since I came back to the game, DCO I'm talking about here, a few weeks ago, I've discovered that at least in the earlier missions, like the inside zones, like this one, right at the entrance they've got a repair bot waiting for you. Certainly in the first one, just to get you used to the idea that your gear has durability and you need to repair it. But repairing gear is extremely cheap. It never breaks the bank, in my experience. You can talk to any vendor in any police station, and they can repair your gear. Also, as you're leveling, less so when you're max level and you need to keep gear for a while, and there's a longer gaps between getting new gear. But when you're first starting out, you're going through gear so much that, or so quickly, that I've never had my gear drop below, I don't know, I want to say 90% durability before it's either been sold or as a result become, sorry, that's the wrong way around. Before it's become obsolete by getting new gear, or as a result sold. So let's surprise these guys. Hey, guess what? I'm here to beat up your derpy looking giant evil demon book. And you, as a side result. Yeah, I've got a feeling, Hawkman, that probably the reason why they don't have copies of this book is because it would be enormously prohibitive to reproduce. Because this is definitely the book that they're learning from. You can see, I mean, from this side, it's definitely a book. It's got a huge living face in it. Well, I mean, it's not moving at the moment, but its eyes were in a different position before. Fragile. Let's see how many volts we can put through it. There we go. Yeah, more than anything else, I think that's the reason they don't have copies of it, because it would be prohibitively expensive to make copies. That's not just a book. No, it isn't just a book. It's a bit more than that, isn't it? There was a mission over here. Ah, yes, here we are. Police Chief Iron Tom Buford. trying to evacuate civilians from downtown Vibora Bay. The champions have agreed to let us use their jet, but the streets are full of those monsters. Can you make sure these people get to the jet safely? I mean, I'll give it a shot. But if they act incautiously during the apocalypse, I'm not sure how much I can do to help. Are those guys hiding in the rubble? Oh, we're actually not far from the jet, are we? This is convenient. Go. Relatively safe. Our powers are put to their best use when we protect those who cannot protect themselves. Well done, Technical Issues. Thank you, Technical Issues. I shall see that these arcane weapons are put to good use in the hands of the remaining Trismegistus wizards. The devil's inside. My fellow Trismegistus Council members have been under constant attack by the servants of Thrakiel. Many of them have been captured or killed. I have even heard reports that Trey King magicians are going so far as to summon demons into my fellow council members to possess them. Our chapter house in Vibora was west of the High Apostolic Church. Take this banishing talisman, Technical Issues. If you encounter a member of the Trismegistus Council under a demon's thrall, please free them. What's this? Infernal Wand. $25 charges. I can't be bothered keeping hold of devices that have charges on them. There was a hand in over here. The destruction of that cursed book makes the world a safer place. That is, of course, assuming we prevent the apocalypse. Interesting. It's just occurred to me that when we go back in time to avert the apocalypse, spoilers, we go back in time to avert the apocalypse because we can't manage it at this point. It's gotten too far along. When we go back in time, that book that we destroyed will still be around. It'd be nice if the game remembered that, because it is kind of a big deal that they've got a book that teaches them dark magic at a rate quick enough to make them a problem for the Trismegistus Council. It'd be nice if the game gave us a mission to re-destroy it, or destroy it in the altered timeline, so that we can be sure that it's definitely gone. Stop that. Cool. I wonder how close to these you need to be. Fairly. Just standing there, stunned. It might be because they didn't get into a fight. The game is a bit confused. Damn it. Oh, it's on cooldown as well. There we go. DCUO has also got a lot more voice acting. In fact, all of the missions that I can remember playing have voice acting. And there's a lot of like all of the NPCs that you get near also have voice lines. They have like 1 or 2 voice lines, so it does get a bit repetitive. But practically everyone has voice lines, which is nice. There's a funny thing that you'll notice. I mean, it'll take a while to actually get there. But when you talk to Raven repeatedly, she has like a sequence of voice lines where she says, because Raven is supposed to keep her emotions in check all times. She tends to come across as quite monotone and uninterested. But when you speak to her, she'll say things along the lines of, I'm pleased to see you. No, really, I genuinely am pleased to see you. Why does nobody ever believe me that when I say I'm pleased to see them? Oh man, when you go back in time, the reason for destroying book is less urgent. Yeah, that's true. It's still quite a big problem. It's something that if I were a character in the game, it's something I would want to make sure was dealt with. I don't know, maybe I can headcanon it that I mention it to a less powerful hero and hand it off to them. Like Red Snake or something. Odds Bodkin. What a horrible curse. Hey chaps. How's about a really bad time? I'll give you a artisan bad time experience. Artisanal bad time experience. It's extremely exclusive. The Hawkman in the main story context. Destroying the book is akin to destroying the Trey King's faction. Oh wow, really, is it? Do you actually do it then? I don't remember. I suppose it means it makes sense. Like if it's the way that they learn how to be Trey Kings and you remove it entirely by destroying it, they can't really make any new Trey Kings. No, you never get rid of the Trey Kings. Oh, that's a shame. Well, even if you did, like, in story, get rid of the Trey Kings, you'd still have Trey Kings wandering around because that's just the way that the game works. They can't, or they either they can't within the engine, or no one's worked out how to have it phased so that your achievements change your personal experience of the game world. Like in World of Warcraft, they can do that in small areas of like sections of the game world. I have one less worry on my mind. Technical issues. Thank you. There's one more mission, but it looks like it's actually within here. And this is Enter Dr. Carr's brownstone, so we've basically completed all those missions. Oh, Hawkman. Oh, the game is already phased. They just don't do it more than they need to. Is it really? I mean, I know that they've got, like, small mission areas, like the Crisis versions of maps. Not just the Queen City or this version of Vibora Bay, but that's weird. There's like an extra layer of stuff here. Is that making it a slope or something? Oh well. There are NPCs that you simply can't see if you haven't started the mission associated with them. I've not experienced that, you know. Or I haven't noticed it. You sure it's that you can't see them? You sure it's not just that you can't interact with them, or they don't have anything for you if you don't have the mission, and not that they're simply not there? I haven't noticed a situation where an NPC turns up that wasn't there previously. I know that I've seen NPCs around who I know I will. Even force none where you cannot see them. Well, assuming that it is, but mission giving is locked. Yeah, that's not the same thing as phasing though, is it? Anyway, if it does happen in the game, it doesn't happen very much, not noticeably, and it's a shame because it would be a really cool way of showing you cleaning up the world. Like, I realize you probably don't completely deal with the purple gang, the new purple gang, until you take down Kevin Poe in the sewers. Much later, after the rest of the West Side story is done. But it would be nice if you had fewer and fewer of the purple gang as you were taking them down, and they just, like, their spawn points got replaced with spawn points for the Maniacs or the Red Banner gang or whoever, as you were having an effect on in story on the enemies who spawn. More Hawkman, it's very subtle. It looks like they aren't there, but the way it works is that they aren't drawn on your screen for other players. In the same instance, they can see and interact. Oh yeah, I guess phasing is more like how the game has different versions of zones. Yeah. Like, in World of Warcraft, after you've completed a mission and, like, reverted a town to usability, I don't think you can actually interact with other players who haven't done the same thing when you're within the area. So if you leave the area, you can still meet people who haven't done. Hawkman, like Argent, Purple Gang is semi-legit in that they have actual jobs and aren't full-time crooks. Well, I mean, any criminal organization like the new Purple Gang has a front. In their case, it's a transit industry. Like, they've got huge vans and trucks that they ship things in. Just because criminal organizations have a front doesn't mean that they're not still criminal organizations. You're a pretty impressive superhero, technical issues. I have no doubt you're going to be a crucial part of stopping Thrakiel. I wish I could be half as valuable as you, but I'm really just a tinkerer. Don't worry, Jury Rig, you'll be super valuable later. You're an inventor, right? Do you have anything that might stop Thrakiel? Sorry, I've got a refurbished QLAR pod that won't start up, my old pair of jet boots, and a temporal quantum displacement engine that doubles my power bill and doesn't work. None of that is going to be much use against Thrakiel. Don't discount your temporal quantum displacement engine just yet. Don't know why he's doing kata at the moment. It seems like that would just use his energy. I have a hazy image in my head of meeting you. Of fighting you? Is that something that happened in the past or in the future? Born to a wealthy family, Santo Barrera's life took a turn when his parents were killed in a plane crash, and Santo focused all his energy in learning a form of martial arts known as the Vibora Bay. He later found a strange idol in the shape of a serpent in a swamp near Vibora Bay, and the innate mystical properties of this idol infused Santo with a strange otherworldly energy. I'm told you are quite a martial artist. What is the Vibora Bay fighting style you employ? It means follower of the Viper, and experts say it is a bastardized blend of Shaolin snake kung fu, capoeira, Yang style Tai Chi, Chuan, and down and dirty dockside brawling. One thing is for sure, there are very few people prepared to take a punch from a master of the Vibora Bay fighting technique. Hawk, I mean, compared to groups like the Maniacs, who seemingly do nothing of any value ever. Yeah, there are some outright criminal gangs who don't have any front, like the Maniacs and like the Black Aces. And then, on the other hand, there are Argent and Purple Gang, who have fronts. And I don't quite know where the Red Banner Gang falls in that, because they are basically the local version of the Triads, and the Triads do have fronts for their businesses, but they also have members who are very obviously members of the gang. Interesting, capoeira is a real style of martial arts. I don't know that Yang style Tai Chi is necessarily a style of Tai Chi. I mean, Yang means active or positive, so I suppose you could extrapolate a version of Tai Chi that is Yang style, but I don't know that Shaolin has a snake style. Shaolin is Buddhist tradition, and the Buddhist martial arts, Shaolin martial arts, don't tend to have animal styles. Animal styles are usually more Taoist. So it's odd to me that the game would say that they claim that there's a Shaolin snake kung fu style. I mean, kung fu just means martial art. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to pick up that mission, but after I've handed this mission in and picked up the ones down there. I'm just going around talking to these people and getting the information that they have. Greetings, Earthling. I'm glad you are here. As you know, I have a great love for my adopted homeworld. I will not allow it to be destroyed in an unholy apocalypse. Show me who to fight, and I will waste no time defeating our enemies. But in matters such as the apocalypse, I am at a loss as to how to best proceed. Yang style Tai Chi Chuan is not something you typically fight with. No, Tai Chi is a difficult style to call an active martial art anyway, because it's so slow. You can kind of use it, but if you want see, Tai Chi is a Taoist martial art, but if you want a Taoist martial art, you'd use Bagua. Hawkman. There are many reasons why Green Dragon thinks Red Snake is a loser. Ravenforce, you'd have to speed it up for breakaways mostly. Yeah. Krebs, can you believe this? I was scheduled to do a concert tonight. Instead, Vibora Bay is going up in flames, and it's up to all of us to save the world. Corazon Cori Valenzuela is not just a member of the Champions with the mutant ability to generate and project energy. She's also a superstar celebrity and a pop sensation. When she isn't saving the world, she's touring it, and her latest album just topped all the pop music charts. I think it's possible to hear her music, and it's absolutely dreadful. Like the rest of the champions, she came to Vibora Bay to join the rest of the world's most powerful heroes to stop the apocalypse. There's not many of them, is there? I think this is an altered outfit for her as well, because I think I remember, at least... originally, her shorts were shorter than that. Screams in Salvador El Mundo. Oh, Hawkman, it's not bad. I'd not say it's great, though. It's very repetitive and simplistic, and it doesn't... I mean, music is subjective, but I don't think that it sounds good even for techno music. Hey there, technical issues. We need to get this apocalypse under control, and we need to do it fast. Of course, I want to do everything fast. Real name Brendan Grant. Kinetic was exposed to a chemical fire that triggered a mutagenic change in his body, causing him to think, react, and move at superhuman speed. He has come to Vibora Bay. Yeah, okay. You know, it's interesting. The one version of the Hawkman Sapphire has at least 4 outfits you see in the game. Oh, okay, fair enough. Just wait until you find the mission where someone tries hypnotizing her into marrying him. I don't know that I've come across that one. It's interesting. The one version of the Champions pen and paper RPG describes several of the champions, including Kinetic. And so Defender, and I think even Ironclad, have a note saying, related to their characters' personalities, that they have a prohibition against killing in the same way that Batman and Superman do. But Kinetic's personality description does not have that qualifier, which implies to me that Kinetic doesn't have a prohibition against killing, and unlike, say, Defender and Witchcraft, Kinetic is just fine just tearing people to shreds with his super speed. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. I've wasted quite a lot of time Well, I don't want to say wasted. I've spent quite a lot of time here talking over stuff. Raven Force. Possibly. I mean, Witchcraft does kill. Does she? Well, Hawkman, let's just say the mission takes place inside Vibora's TV studio. Oh, it's Foxbat, isn't it? Witchcraft does kill. Mostly evil extra dimensionals. Well, I mean, when it's demons, I don't know that you can necessarily call it killing. And also, you're entirely justified in removing the life from beings of pure evil, in my opinion. You have come to Vibora Bay when we need you the most, technical issues. The prophecies have come to pass. The apocalypse is upon us. Caliburn explained your role in these events. I am glad you have come. Let's get to work rectifying the situation. I'll hand in these missions and then... oh no, it's 10 to, not 11. I guess I'll pick up all the missions as well, and we'll see how we go. Dr. Carr, by the way, is basically this universe's version of, well, Dr. Fate in DC, or Doctor Strange in Marvel. Oh, Hawkman, the dev CC is in 30 minutes. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that means. Are they taking down these servers, or have they taken them down already and they've come back up? I did see the note on the... Oh, develop a costume contest. Oh, okay. gives a unique title. Oh, does it? Well, I haven't got any concepts for the contest in mind, and I don't think that half an hour is enough time for me to come up with a costume. I've got some other stuff that I want to get done after this is done. Anyway, I had feared that Makalani was dead. He is very wise, and I am glad to find myself mistaken. Oh yeah, that guy was supposed to have come in here, wasn't he? Wonder where he's gone. Hawkman. You can get special reward just for being there, so even if all you do is watch, it's worth being there. Raven Force, yeah, same. It's Thanksgiving related, so no idea. Yeah, it's like harvest related or something. Hope is our most precious resource, technical issues, and you give us reason for hope. It's a lot of pressure you're putting on me. The apocalypse is now. The apocalypse is nearly upon us, technical issues, but with your help we may yet turn the tide. Enemies amok. Tell me about Therakiel. Therakiel is half angel and half demon. An angel who was cast out of heaven, but not loyal to the legions of hell. His goal is to bring forth a cosmic war, an apocalypse, which will spread beyond Earth to weaken the foundations of both heaven and hell. He then plans to swoop in and claim all reality as his own. He has been planning this for a very long time, and I fear now that his scheme is in motion, he will be almost impossible to stop. Let's read about Dr. Carr as well. Khalid Harris, better known as the mysterious Dr. Carr, comes from a long tradition of mystical superheroes. It started with his grandfather, the Golden Age hero Dr. Twilight, who received his powers directly from the Egyptian god Osiris. The divine essence was passed to Khalid's uncle, who was known in the 60s and 70s as Dr. Scarab. Eventually, Khalid took up the heroic mantle as Dr. Carr. Dr. Carr is dedicated to protecting innocence and has made his home in Vibora Bay because he is aware of the prophecies of an apocalyptic battle that is foretold to happen here. An apocalyptic battle which is now underway, that Dr. Carr is fighting desperately to stop. Interesting that these guys got their powers from Osiris, not Thoth, because Osiris is god of the sun, I think. Not god of magic and knowledge. Thoth is god of magic and knowledge in Egyptian mythology. My Hawkman. I made an ice-themed alt costume. Kais doesn't have a very specific outline for what to do. Well, fair enough. The looming apocalypse does not mean the end for all of us. For some of it is merely the beginning of an age of perpetual malevolence. Dark magic users and criminals are capitalizing on the chaos, and many of them are already in Therakiel's service. Fortunately, we are not alone in seeking to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Trismegistus Council is an organization of magic users dedicated to protecting the Earth from supernatural threats. Elders of the Council are spread throughout the city, serving as our eyes and ears. Seek them out, find out what you can about the threats that confront us, and render aid as you are able. Oh yeah, let's talk to Defender as well. Greetings, old friend. These are dire times, but I'm sure with your help we'll get this situation in Vibora Bay under control. I wonder on what basis he's calling us friend. We have met him, it's true, during the tutorial, and again when we fight when we find out that Lopan is it High Pan or Low Pan? One of the pans, whichever of the pans it is in the game, is organising all the gangs. He penetrates the building from the other side. So that we can trap these miscreants between us. But as far as I'm aware, this is like the third time that we meet him. in story. Force Defender and his fetish. Yeah. I imagine that witchcraft has the ability to create illusions. Lopan is from Big Trouble in Little China. Okay, so it's Haipan in the game then. I knew it was one of them, and I knew that it was a reference to Big Trouble in Little China. I just couldn't remember because Haipan and Lopan are not distinct enough for my brain to know which is which. And neither name is really quite Chinese enough for me to be able to say, ah yes, this is an original Chinese name, and this one is a kind of knockoff. Ravenforce, hey witchcraft, do that building illusion you do. It's hot. Yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking. Is the situation in Vibora Bay really as bad as people say? My friend, I don't mean to brag, but I've saved the world dozens of times. I'm sure you have too. Well, maybe not dozens. I don't think even a dozen quite yet. It's probably about 6 or 7 times. The key in situations such as these is not to lose hope. The righteous and true will ultimately prevail. I have no doubt. Things are getting ugly around Vibora Bay. If we're going to stop Thrakiel, we're going to need 3 things and plenty of them. Firepower, sorcery, and superpowers. Is it churlish to ask Caliburn what happened to the flame gem? Thrakiel has been plotting to bring on this apocalypse for centuries, possibly even eons. That's kind of a jump. Centuries is hundreds of years. After that it's thousands of years, which is millennia. And then I think probably eons. Epochs are not quite so defined. An epoch is several thousand years, usually. And I don't know how epoch stacks up against eon. Eons are generally supposed to be even longer, I think. Probably tens of thousands of years. So it's odd that he would say centuries, possibly even eons. I mean, would you not have a more staggered, like, jump in terms? He recognized I was a contender to become the Archmage, and hence a threat, so his second-in-command, Valerian Scarlet, ambushed me and took the flame gem. She had a little help too, if I recall. Probably giving you the stink eye. I still have a mystical ability, but without the flame gem in my possession, my arcane abilities are severely diminished. Well, that's why you don't rely on crutches. One of the 4 elemental elements of mankind. It's powerful on its own, but together the 4 gems have enough power to start an apocalypse, or maybe stop it. It's a real shame I don't have it anymore. Again, giving you the stink eye. Yeah, we've already read his info. What is the flame gem? Oh yeah, we've already read that. Just read that, didn't we? Sorry. Bit unfocused. Thrakiel is a tough cookie, but there's one mortal who may be able to stand up to him. The Archmage. Problem is, there isn't an Archmage, and hasn't been for 100 years. If we're going to stop the apocalypse, we need somebody to fill the position. That somebody is yours truly, but we need to quick step if we're going to get me sworn in before the world ends. To make that happen, I need the true names of some esoteric spirits, and you've just volunteered to help. Take this charm. It will force spirits from the outer planes to manifest when you get close. They won't give up their names without a fight, but that's not a problem for you, is it? Nope. I'm basically here to pound people's faces in. That's 11 o'clock. I guess I did start a bit late. Let's talk to Amphibian, not pick up the coffee table. That would be a bit rude. Hello, my friend. It's good to see you. You know, I don't think anything could be as bad as that. I didn't think anything could be as bad as that Lemurian civil war. There, we were fighting to save an entire civilization, but here we're fighting to preserve the whole world. Yeah, a bit unfortunate that he's basically useless. He's as far as I'm aware, he's kind of just Silver Age Aquaman, in that his power is basically to talk to fish, and not anything much more than that. I've dedicated my life to keeping Vibora Bay safe. I can't tell you how grateful I am you're here to help during Vibora Bay's most desperate hour. Are things really as dire as everyone says? Look, don't go spreading this around, but I heard Carr and Caliburn say there's no way we're all going to make it out of this alive. Thrakiel is just too powerful, and now that the apocalypse is in motion, it's going to be almost impossible to stop. Personally, I'm more than willing to lay down my life. I just hope I can save Vibora Bay when I do. There's not... Yeah, I don't know why he's there, Raven Force. Well, there's a reason. Yeah, I know what happens to him later. I imagine the reason he's here is because... partially because he's weaselly enough to wriggle out of terribly dangerous situations, and partially because he's boastful enough to play up his ability, such that he got invited, despite the fact that he's probably not actually terribly capable. The 10th hero to wear the costume of the Black Mask. Oh yeah, we already read that. We read that when we did the Queen City arc, and I complained about her costume because she's an ordinary human, much like Batman, who just gets by on training and equipment, and she's got all these big fucking stab me windows in her costume. The Masks of Black Death. Have you seen the church graveyard southwest of here? It wouldn't be an apocalypse if the dead weren't rising, I guess, but I've got a personal favour to ask. You may know I'm not the first Black Mask. I'm the 10th, and we Masks have been protecting America since 1776, which is a fucking while ago. It's almost as old as America itself. The other 9 are dead and buried in the cemetery to the southwest. At least they should be, but I'm pretty sure I saw one of them shambling around earlier today. The Black Masks have served their country well, and they don't deserve this now. I'm not really up to fighting my predecessors. Could you please lay them to rest? By which she means, can you destroy the bodies of my ancestors so they can't walk around anymore? Raven Force, dude, why are you here? You only talk to fish. The battle is on land. I can do more than that. Honest. Oh, really? Like what? Well, I'm talking to you, aren't I? Yep. You sure are, amphibian. If nothing else, I suppose you can be a decoy. Anyway, I think that's probably about enough streaming for today. Oh, Hawkman, I think that the idea they go with is that Thrakiel is several millennia old. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's supposed to have been cast out of heaven, so he could be older than Lemuria and the Empyrenes, both of whose civilizations are in the game referred to as tens of thousands of years old. It's a bit difficult to tell exactly how long they're supposed to have been around for. Raven Force, yeah, he can exist outside of time too. Yeah, that definitely makes it difficult to accurately describe how old someone is, doesn't it? If they can exist outside of time. Anyway, so that's it for today. I'll be back on Monday next week, 8 PM to 10 PM. 11 PM, I mean. GMT. Combating the end of the world some more. Spoilers, it doesn't go very well. We have to travel through time to avert all of this. But it'll probably take a while for us to actually get to that point. I can't remember how much there is in this Apocalypse version of Vibora Bay. We might spend all of Monday just doing stuff around Vibora Bay here. before we go back in time. It might be Wednesday or even Friday next week before we actually travel in time. But anyway, regardless, thank you for everyone who's decided to watch. I'm glad that you're here. Even if you just watched passively and didn't say anything, that's fine. There's no expectation or pressure for you to talk. Just being here and enjoying what I'm putting out is enough. For those of you who don't know, I've just started a YouTube channel and started uploading my streams there. There's a link in my About section on Twitch. So if you have a burning desire to go back and watch from the start, you can do. I start at level 1 and do the tutorial. Probably making some factual mistakes about functions of the game and about powers and about lore stuff, which I will now happily acknowledge if I've made a mistake. Difficult to get a YouTube channel, YouTube video to acknowledge mistakes, given that they were recorded in the past. But if you can make your way past, if you can forgive those mistakes, and you really, really enjoy the stream, there's more for you there. You can also find it by searching Vanilla Jester Gaming on YouTube. Anyway, I hope you guys have a nice evening, and I hope you come by next time. Or I hope to see you again, whether that's next time or not. Good evening.